much for being here. I'm so glad that life and Guatemala brought us together and that we're actually sitting here right now. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, where are you from?
I'm from Israel.
Mm-hmm. And what brings you here?
I had a rough time in Israel. Past almost 3 years, I was just feeling bad and it kept getting worse and worse. Externally, my life was pretty beautiful. I was living in a nice house, surrounded by really nice people, in a nice village with surrounded by like-minded people and going to parties and workshops and going to the nature and doing whatever I want, even not working, not having to worry about anything. But still my well-being just kept getting worse and worse over the course of, I think, almost 3 years. And it got so bad to the point I actually thought that I was going to die. So it was like a wake-up call, hey, dude, you might die. You might not survive this. Not in a suicidal way, but I was afraid that my frequency will get so low I will attract some kind of accident or illness or a tragedy. And I was like, okay, I might die. Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's just put myself somewhere else where I thought my needs could be better met. So yeah, I had just an intuition about Central America, and I wanted to be surrounded by people, but by people who I find interesting, and I wanted to really feel that opportunities to connect are easily accessible and available and abundant. So yeah, once I saw Lekatitlan on YouTube, I just felt this is the place, and I just went for it. It's pretty scary. Yeah, that's the story.
Okay, so I want to come back a little bit because I don't know you so well, and I would like to know a bit more. So what is it that you did in Israel? What was your everyday life about? You said you weren't working?
For periods. If you're asking about profession or interest?
Career-wise, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I have no profession. I can say that my essence is a healer, but no career, no profession. I never had my thing that I know this is what I'm doing, like an artist or a musician or whatever. I was just experimenting with stuff, but mostly I wasn't concerned with work or professional career. I was just wanting to feel better. Somehow, not always I can even say how, but somehow I was never lacking anything, even without working. So universe helps. But yeah, my passion and my strength is to be able to feel into people and see into people and coach or guide or help them emotionally and just give empathy. That's that's my profession, but it's still not super actualized. I still feel I'm on my journey of self-healing, self-discovery, and I'm sure that once I'm in a more, I don't know, in a better place, it will come naturally.
Yeah, I think it's super wise. Even in coaching and in therapy or anything in healer session, there's always the saying that we find ourselves first, and then we can guide others, right? And your journey is definitely going to, attract the people that you can help afterwards.
Yeah.
But do you think that these low points back home in Israel, were they connected somehow? What do you think it was connected to? This slow 3 years, actually.
It's hard to say. You can look at it from different angles. You can say spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul. You can say childhood trauma resurfacing. But the way what I tell myself about it is that I have some needs that need to be met, and my environment back in Israel was not meeting that need. Especially energetically, I just felt like a flower inside ground with no minerals. Like I couldn't be nourished in that atmosphere. Maybe because of the just frequency of Israel, the history of the place, or maybe it's because this is where I grew up and this is where I was like having hard times and traumas, and like, it's like a family. Sometimes you have to go out of your family. You cannot heal everything with the family, because if you're triggered every day, you just open the wound and there is no time for integration. So I guess like that, but with all of Israel, that's just a story I have. I don't really know the reasons, but for sure it has a lot to do with my childhood situation. Yeah.
Okay, but how did knowing come that okay, now I have to make a change? Like, do you think there was something that really like was a breaking point for you? You mentioned a little bit that you started having this death thoughts that you're gonna die. Was that something that made you like come here and book the ticket? Was that the change for you even?
Yeah, definitely. I was having a hard time and I suffered for a long time, but I think that I had this tendency to hold on to pain and to hold on to suffer, because this is the way of my ego to feel like I have worth, because I can endure so much suffering. Let's stay here. Let's prove to myself how strong I am. But then, like, it got so worse that I saw it. I saw that I might think I'm strong, or I might be even strong, but I'm human. And if I'm not gonna make a change, I'm probably gonna die. And I don't wanna die. So yeah, it was like a wake-up call.
So profound what you're saying right now. I can so relate. I'm so glad you brought it up, because I think a lot of people have that, and I think it's so important message to get out there, that sometimes we start having those ideas in our brains that we have to do something. Like it kind of becomes very rigid. Like I have to endure this pain, and then you think like, yeah, that's why I'm strong. Like if I can take more, I'm gonna grow more. I'm gonna be even stronger. I can take even more pain, and then at some point you're like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. It doesn't work. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
It was just an autopilot.
Yeah. I think it works to some extent, because we do grow sometimes through like very hard situations. But if we like consciously put ourselves into this, like that's what I think, like you said, it comes from an ego place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely it was a blind spot. And once I saw it, I could be conscious and make a conscious choice. And since then, I'm just constantly and consciously trying to improve my situation and put myself in a better position, because it's like you get this feeling that, all right, I have nothing to lose. Clock is ticking. What do I do? What do I do? I know the suffering. I was like, and it's not that I was complacent and lazy or just not grounded. I was actively trying to get better. I tried many types of therapies and like just nothing worked. Nothing worked.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So you feel you didn't find like any help in therapies? What were the therapies you tried?
Some are not so easy some are not like very defined, like just some healers, body work, or how is it called? There is like a somatic therapy for trauma. I don't remember the name. Also some like healers, like really powerful witches that try to help me. Trigger points, emotional work, like imagination stuff, many different things, also coaching. But I think that sometimes if you approach therapy, if you recognize that like something is wrong, or let's say something is not working because you're getting worse. And you tell yourself, okay, let's go to therapy because I want to heal. If you embark on this healing journey with the idea that I need to fix myself, it's not going to work. No matter what you do, you're just setting a trap for yourself. But also, and this I realized just recently when I started to study nonviolent communication, I really understood the power of empathy. And many of the healers and the therapists I saw, they could have amazing tools, lots of experience, psychic and supernatural abilities, and they could use it on me, but they didn't really give me the empathy I needed. They tried to fix me, and I'm trying to fix myself, and it just doesn't work. I just need someone to listen to me and be present with my pain. I remember this very specific moment. I was going to this incredible witch. I don't have another word to describe her. She's a mystic and she's a witch, and she presses your body, and she's connected to your body, and she sees your chakra and energy system, and she's incredible. And there was one moment that she was able to get me into a space of peace where she wanted me to be. And then I just went back to my old habits, and it wasn't even in my control. It just happened. And she saw I'm going back and getting out from that healing space. And she was so pissed and disappointed. And she she got mad at me.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that?
I felt not safe with her. I felt like I cannot make a mistake. I have to be perfect. I am not good enough.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I told her, sometime after, I told her, that it didn't work for me, that reaction. And it hurt my trust. So it can be, to summarize this whole thing, it can be very tricky. The way you come from and the way you approach your therapy and your healing. Because if you try to fix yourself, you're just reinforcing the idea that you are not good. When most of what you need, well, sometimes we need also those practical tools, but I think the base is to have that empathy and that presence, just to give you space to feel safe and to feel not judged, and for someone to get connected to your feelings and what's alive with you, or to help you to connect to that yourself. It's a huge part and I think the basis for healing.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's very wise because I'm learning a lot. I'm learning family therapy and coaching and meditation and all these different certifications I'm doing. But I so do connect with this idea that first and most important thing is actually allowing and accepting the situation for what it is.
Yeah.
Really giving the space and being comfortable with what's happening. What is the reality right now? And what's interesting is because we're all humans, right? You gave the example of the witch. It's our ego comes up. We want to help.
Yeah.
It's I want to help. It's my self-esteem is kind of connected to how much I can help someone, or how can I fix them. But that shouldn't be it at all. That is a trap.
Yeah.
But it's important to put the ego aside, I think, especially if we are healers and working with people, that I think it's so important that we're not fixated on the end goal or trying to fix someone. Clearly, the end goal is we want everybody to feel better. We want our patient to feel better. But it shouldn't be we have to tune in to our client.
Yeah, the whole reason they're coming for us is to receive unconditional love. And if we are resisting any part of their progress, that same second is no longer unconditional love, and we're not able to fully help them.
But you said something interesting, that you're learning nonviolent communication.
Yeah.
What is that?
Nonviolent communication is the most practical and simple tool, actually, that I encountered so far for healing. It's used a lot to like not negotiate, but help people when they fight, or couples, or groups, or just two people. It just gives you like the instructions of how one can communicate in a way that will be authentic, in a way that you're still connected to what's alive in you, to your feelings, to your needs, and how do you communicate that in a way that is way easier for people to see you and to want to help you, and to not be like defending or attacking or feeling blamed. It's pretty amazing.
What are like some of the tricks you could say? Like, what's the main like points there?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give you two main points. One is for a situation where you have a charge and you have like an issue with someone. How do you communicate that? And the other point is, what do you do when someone has charge towards you and is like blaming you or judging you? So whenever I feel a trigger or a not pleasant emotion towards someone, and I want to tell it to them, I want to communicate. I don't want to just ignore it and then be like passive aggressive. It's also violent.
Yeah.
So I want to tell it to them. So first thing is to find out what exactly happened that stimulated my emotion, and to say it very concretely and clearly, without any judgment or story or diagnosis. For example, let's say you were late. Let's say we schedule a meeting and you were late, and for some reason it messed with my whole day and I was really pissed. So I can come and tell you, you're not reliable. Come and tell you, you're not trustworthy. You're a messy person. You always forget. Always.
Yeah.
You always forget. But so no, I will not say diagnosis or any thoughts of you. I will tell exactly what happened, that like practically, physically, what was done that caused me to feel. So I will tell you, Lacey, when you came 30 minutes after the hour we meet, I felt angry. So I put it on the action, not on you as a person. Because you can't make me feel anything. Like it's the way I think about it. So I first make a clear observation, what happened to stimulate my feeling. Then I communicate how I feel. I'm connected to my feelings. I felt angry. I felt sad. And also I like to incorporate this method with a different world of self-development, which is called possibility management. It's amazing. It's something different. But in possibility management, they say and they teach you that there are only 4 basic feelings. Which is anger, sadness, fear, and joy. And all the rest, like disappointment and despair and confusion and whatever, is just different combinations
of those 4.
And mixes of these 4. So for me, it makes me even more connected to my feelings when I only focus on these 4. Oh, okay, I'm sad. Oh, I'm angry. Oh, I feel fear. Fear, I find, is the one that is the hardest to recognize.
Probably depends on a person, but yeah, for you it's fear.
That's actually also another part of also nonviolent communication and possibility management, to not talk in general, to always talk about myself. So right now I didn't do it and you helped me to remember. For me, it's hardest to recognize when I feel fear. I only talk about me. Anyways, so I locate what happened, how I feel, and then I communicate, and maybe it's the most important part, what need of mine it didn't meet. So Lacey, when you showed up to our meeting 30 minutes after the time I was anticipating, I felt very angry because my day was really full and I didn't have a lot of time to waste that day. And I had a very important meeting after. And and it was very important for me to do with you what we wanted to do, and I had a need to have enough time. I had a need to whatever need the situation conflicted with you, or maybe I didn't feel seen. Maybe I felt disrespected, and I have a need to feel respected. So when I'm connected to my needs, and I communicate them in a non-violent way, it's much easier for the other person to be connected to me and to understand me and to not feel like I'm making them wrong.
Yeah, that's so big. Like when you were just talking to me, even though it's an example that, like, it's a fictional example, I felt like opening. It's like you want to be there for a person if he's so vulnerable and he's telling you such a, in a nice way.
He's revealing himself.
Yeah, it's very intimate.
Yeah, it's intimacy, exactly.
Yeah, super nice. Well, for our listeners, I think it's super important because I feel there's so much value here. I just want to say, like, take a pause for a second and write down the things if you want to get something very useful from this.
Yeah, I would definitely stop and write it down.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I feel like simple. I want to write it down myself, but I have time with you after our podcast. So. But just for a reminder, so first thing is to state what happened, the situation, action, like you were late, and that made me feel angry.
Say exactly what stimulated my feeling, but in a practical way. What happened? Don't tell judgments, stories, diagnosis, like you were too something. No, I'm not diagnosing your psychology now. You're not to anything. This happened, and so I felt angry. How I feel, and what need of mine, what do I need? What need of mine wasn't met in that situation? I had a need for safety. I needed to know that I'm going to make it to my second appointment on time. So I got very scared. So I was angry and scared, and I had a need for, certainty.
So there's 2 points, very important ones, like to state action, the feeling, and what need was not met.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, I think just for the clarity, it's important. I think it makes it so much easier if you think about those 4 emotions: anger, sadness, fear, and joy.
Yes, but I think it's also very valuable to have a big vocabulary of emotions, because maybe for me it will be clear to just say, oh, I'm either sad or angry or afraid, but sometimes it depends who I'm talking with. For other people, it would be easier to understand, I felt disappointed.
Yeah, probably depends on a person. I just want to, talk to a lot of our listeners. So it probably depends how connected you are to your emotions. Maybe, like, if you're just starting out, it's easier to know that those 4 are, like, the main ones. And if you're, like, more connected and can make, like, some differences, then you can use whatever is true for you in this moment.
Yeah, as long as you get the message clear. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks for being curious about it.
And you said you're gonna talk about the second situation when someone is, like, attacking us or being.
Yeah. So this is also, I found, very empowering, because before, when someone was, like, blaming me or making me wrong for anything, I judged, oh, this person is not talking with me now in a non-violent way. This person is being aggressive. This person is attacking. Like, he is wrong. I also start to judge him. He is wrong for doing that. But how do I deal with it, actually? If I want to have a sense of, like, what can I do? If I want to have a sense of control and safety, I cannot control what other people do, but I can only control how I react. So this is my power. So how do I want to react when someone is judging me? So I will always remember that whenever someone is blaming or judging me, they are just expressing a need of theirs that is not being met. It's a very poor expression. Like, I don't know, let's say just an extreme example. Maybe a child screams at his mother when she doesn't want to give him the chocolate, he screams, "I hate you, mom." But he has a need. He's saying like, "I want to feel loved," or any need that he has. So when someone is judging or blaming, they have a need that is not being met, and they have a feeling now. They either feel sad or angry. And in that moment, they are not connected to what's alive in them. They're not connected to their feelings, and they're not connected to their needs. So what can I do? I will give them empathy. And by that, I mean, I will help them to reconnect with themselves. So do you want to give an example of a judgment from me?
Well, let's say you're told that you're gonna take me out for dinner during the weekend and you didn't. So I'm like, I'm telling you, never keep your promise.
Okay.
I'm just so mad and pissed. You just never do anything you say you do.
So you blame me for never doing the things I say I do. So if I want to give empathy to you, I will ask you, I will shift my focus from defending myself. I will shift my focus to you. And I will start thinking, how is she feeling? What's alive in her right now? I will focus on two things. What is she feeling and what is she needing? And I don't have to really guess it, right? I can also just ask, but I shift your attention to yourself, to what you feel and what you need. So let's say you come and you scream at me, you never do what you say you do, I hate you, you're the worst boyfriend ever. Yeah. So I will tell you, I will say, so you're angry? Are you angry? Because, and then I will guess the need. Are you angry because you have a need to rely on me, on your partner, and to be able to trust and to know that once something is promised, it is probably going to be done, because you have a need for trusting people, because otherwise maybe you feel like you have no control, or maybe not even that. Like I would just focus. I would say that, and I shift your attention to your feel and need, and you would say probably something like, "Oh yeah, of course I'm mad. I'm super angry with you, and I want to be able to trust you. I need to be able to trust you." And then it's like, it brings a little air. I just give you this example and I can breathe. You're a little more connected to your emotions, and then I can give you more empathy. I can even just repeat what you say, like, or even without words, just presence, non-resistant presence with your feelings and with your needs. Like, now I see your needs, so I would just be there, and I might say something like, "Okay, I see that you're very angry when your need for trust and certainty is not being met." And this can go
super
on.
Nice.
Yeah. Was this a clear enough example?
Yeah. I think it was. I got it. So I think, for clarity, we can just walk through the steps again, that if someone comes and like, for example, I think this example is good. Like, if it would be in a relationship and I would be like, I can never rely on you, never do what you say. And then from your point, you're being present and you're like connecting to, you're reflecting back what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And stating also the need.
Yeah.
Behind it. Like, I feel that you're angry because for you, trusting and being able to rely on me is very important.
Yeah. And from this point, we can just have a conversation and come to an agreement. What you need, what do I need, how can it work? But we approach, and I think most cases we will find something that can work for both of us if we genuinely want to stay connected.
No, definitely. But I think it's so nice. If people could do that, I think we would have like so much nicer relationships, right? But like, the question is how to do it, because if someone comes to you, if I would come to you and say like, listen, you never keep your word, you're I don't know, you're an asshole, you're the worst boyfriend ever, I can never ever rely on you, like, how do you find the strength to, like, what would you say, how can you apply this knowledge that you have in this heated moment?
Yeah. So it's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
If you just understand it now, like logically,
Mm-hmm.
and in an hour you have a very charged argument with someone who's really close to you,
Mm-hmm.
you might be too emotional to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you practice it with the cab driver and your neighbor and everybody. You just start to practice. Whenever you see someone making a judgment, you practice asking yourself, how are they feeling? What are they feeling? And what do they need right now?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it becomes like a game.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets to not take things so personally.
Yeah.
However, sometimes you are also human and you can be too emotional, and there's a time that, let's say, a couple or two people, for example, a couple, they have a huge fight and they're being too emotional because one triggers the other and it's just like a downward spiral. You need a third person to give empathy for both of them. A third person to be like, oh, so you're feeling very mad and because you have a need for this and that. And he's like, yeah. And then he comes down because his partner cannot give him this empathy. And then he comes down, he can better communicate his need. Sometimes it's needed, a third person. And also I forgot in the first point, when you want to communicate something in a non-violent way. In Hebrew, we don't say non-violent way. We say, like, there's no word in English, but it's like communication to get people closer.
Oh, that's even sweeter.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. I think we should change it. It's a term like non-violent in English for it.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's so much nicer to have it like I don't know, intimacy conversation or getting closer conversations.
Yeah, we have a nice word for that.
Yeah.
But anyways, so when you want to communicate your charge, so we say, I state what stimulated my feeling in a very concrete, non-judgmental way, like a very practical way, what happened, how it made me feel, and what are my needs in that situation. And I don't just finish with this, then I make a request. Because it has to be practical, otherwise the person has nothing to do. So you just make a request. So I would say, in our example, when this happened, I felt angry, you didn't come, you came 30 minutes late, I felt angry, I had the need for safety and for my day to be on time. And now I make a request. Would you be willing to let me know next time that you are going to be late? If it's possible. It will help me have the certainty I need.
Okay, so it's important.
Yeah.
So everybody who's listening, there's a third or fourth step to make a request.
Fourth step. Yeah. But you have to make sure that you make a request and not a demand. Because if I'm asking you something, it's your right to say no.
Yeah.
If you say yes out of fear, like, it's not, I want you to do stuff only because you feel happy to do it.
Yeah.
Because you want the better for me and for you.
Yeah.
And if you, let's say I ask you that, I made a request, and next time you still didn't do it, and I give you like a face, like, hey, you promised, you will tell me, like, then it means I didn't make a request because I don't respect your right to not do it. I made a demand. So that makes me not safe emotionally for you.
But how do you make the difference? Because maybe I say yes out of the fear, but you think it's genuine. You think it's a nice agreement we made.
If I'm connected enough to you and to myself, and I suspect that you just say it to please me, I can reassure you and tell you, hey, I only want you to do it if it really feels good for you to do it. If you do it out of fear or because you don't want to disappoint me, then it doesn't help me.
Well, it doesn't help the relationship in a big picture because the next time is going to come probably.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the fourth step.
Yeah, but coming back now also how to apply it, I think it's so important to practice. And it's a great point that you brought out that we can practice in everyday life with everybody.
Yeah, just listening to people.
Yeah.
Watching even TVs, movies, like.
Or like you said, driving a cab. Like I know there's so many like taxi drivers who get pissed or being in the traffic, or even like going shopping. You know, there's like so many situations that trigger us, and then you can really like practice it.
Yeah, you just get curious. Oh, what are they feeling? What are they needing? And it starts to be fun because you start to be less afraid because you know that whatever charge someone has, if you give them empathy and you know how to do it and you don't take it personally, you will create a lot of closeness. And sometimes it takes a few times. Sometimes you give empathy and the person is still attacking you.
Yeah.
So you give more empathy.
But is there ever a point where you should stop? Like if I'm the one who's being attacked and like the other person just is so overwhelmed with emotions that it's not landing, like my empathy is not really like landing, there's like attacks coming in. Is there a point where I should be like, okay, like that's not okay, I'm gonna walk out now?
Genius question. I think it depends on how you feel. If you are not being hurt by that attack, and if you are fine and happy to still give this person empathy, so there is no limit. You just stay present with them. You might even give your empathy just with a look and presence and really listen to them and just internally be connected to what's alive with them because it's energy dynamic. They are disconnected from themselves and they're super emotional, but you can stay connected to them even in silence. You think, how is he feeling? What is he needing? You stay connected with them and present with them. And you can also verbalize it and help them get connected.
Yeah, wow, I think it's so important what you just brought out. Like, I couldn't have answered it better. That it's so important to stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Because if I understand that now I'm like getting hurt, I can't handle it.
You can.
Like I have to be true to myself.
Yeah.
I have to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this exact situation happened to me 2 nights ago. I had not an argument, but a charge with a very close individual to me. And that individual was too emotional, like very emotional and very triggered. And I tried to give empathy, but the judgments that were made upon me hurt me too much. So I had to stop. I had to stop and wait for a day or two before we talk again.
Yeah, so important.
Yeah.
To always tune into yourself and like stay true to your own boundaries first.
Yeah. Because if you're hurt, then you lose your energy and you cannot do what you want to do. You cannot give what you want to give. It's like in the airplane. Like first, put the oxygen for yourself.
Yeah. But what happens if I'm hurt and I still lay there? Like, is there like a way that we change roles? Like, for example, if I hold the space for you, that you hold the space for me after? That I can like express, you know what, like I actually got hurt by what you said. And I know I held the space for you, but it actually hurt me too.
It depends. Not always you can do that. Because when someone they need to be ready to receive how the situation impacted you. There is also another world of communication that is called authentic relating. In authentic relating, it's called shared impact. Like I can listen to you, I can give you empathy, I can reflect back to you. Oh, so you're feeling angry. So you need this. And only when the person is ready when he's done talking, and only if I ask them, I will ask them, so can I share how the interaction or how what you told me impacted me? And then I can share it. But mostly if they're still having a need for some empathy and to be seen more, and they're not fully like okay, it might not work.
Yeah, so true.
We're all humans.
Yeah, that's super important, I think. Yeah, because I always thought that it has to go for a very long time. I had this thing like, I don't know, like 50-50 or equality thing. It's like, I'm here for you, I listen for you, but now I would like for you to be present for me too, you know? But it is tricky.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky because if you are listening and in the back of your mind you're having the expectations that if I'm listening, you have to listen to me. So the listening, there is not 100% presence. It's like a conditional thing.
Yeah, that's not good. But I think to some extent, I think you can even be present. I feel that I had in my past relationships that I was very present. Like, I have the feedback that my partners were feeling safe and heard, but like I still had this expectation that they would hold the space for me too, you know? But I think you have to give time. Like, I think what you said is so wise, that like in this moment, probably need a bit more space. Like, even if you have talked it out, like you have to give it space before the other person does the sharing. Like, it doesn't have to be always like that. Maybe the person like gets out of it very fast and can hold the space for you too. But I think very often it happens that it's better to give some time and do the sharing a bit later.
Probably. However, this is where nonviolent communication comes into play, because I think a lot of it has to do with the way you share how you feel and you ask for what you need. If you listen to someone and now they're good and you still have a need to be heard yourself, and you communicate it in a way like they have to do it, or like
Yeah, definitely guilty. I think I've done a lot of that, like not knowing how to communicate in a nice way.
Yeah, so if you like share it in a connected, authentic way, like hey, I know we've talked now for 2 hours and I was happy to hear you out, and now I feel I understand better what you've been through with me, and it seems like you feel more calm, and I'm happy to see that. I also have a need to feel heard. I still have some sadness in me, or some, I don't know, fear that I would love to share and be heard. Would you be willing to listen to that now, and you make a request, and then the other person, let's say he's not available now, let's say he's exhausted, and maybe he's in a rush to see his friends, or he just cannot do it right now. So if you also know how to communicate in a non-violent way, he will tell you that I would love to hear you, but right now I need to be somewhere else, or right now I'm too tired and I really need to rest. And then he doesn't just share, he makes also a request. Are you okay with doing that in 2 hours?
I think it's super important, especially in the request at the end.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can still feel triggered. You're like, oh my god, I needed him to be here, and he's not here for me. And then, I have to, there's this sharing again. But if someone tells you, like, listen, I want to hear you, I'm available in 2 hours or tomorrow, it instantly calms you down.
Yeah. You feel heard. You know that he knows what you need. And if he cares about you, genuinely, you will feel that he cares about you, and you will understand that he also has a different need right now, but he still cares about me and he still want to help me. And if he cannot do something, he can tell you. Maybe it's a person that is super afraid of intimacy and not emotionally available, and he will tell you, I see that you need to share something and to have someone hold your space, or me holding your space. I feel like my need for freedom or for autonomy, or each person with their own vocabulary, or I don't feel like I'm ready to do it, would you be able to find someone else to share with and hold the space for you? And let's say you need it to be with him because you're relating with him, and you need him specifically to hear you because this is how you want to feel in a relationship. So you can understand, okay, we don't have to get in a huge fight, but now I know this person's needs are not compatible with mine. So it's an abundant world. I will find someone else.
Wow, yeah, that's a good point too. That it's a quick way to find out if you like what are the needs, expectations, if they're similar, if you can make it work. But it takes a lot of courage, I think, for people to communicate from that place, and a lot of like self-knowing.
Yeah.
Like I have to be super aware of myself to be able to communicate this way.
Yeah, and when you just start to learn it, and I'm still no expert. I'm still like in the course and just starting to practice it. But it takes time to rewire your brain to think like that and act like that. In the beginning, you might have to pause and think because you speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can seem not natural, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it works.
Yeah, I truly believe in that. Like, I think there's like some of the examples and relationships where this type of communication has happened, and if you get the feeling that it works, like you just want to do it again because you see it works, you can get so much more intimate, you can get so much more closer, there's this understanding, you know. But there's also a lot of hurt. You can, like, I mean, if the other person is not there, he's not willing to meet you or she, and then, like, you know.
But it might hurt to find out that someone is not truly compatible with me or here for me. Or just compatible. What I need is not what they need.
Yeah.
This is reality.
Yeah.
It's reality. You want to know it now and understand it, and not just have an expectation or having him promise you stuff and then just continuously be disappointed.
Yeah.
And starving because you have a need that is not being met.
But what's your point of view? Like, do I change my needs, for example? Like, let's say it's this thing like being late.
I will tell you.
Yeah.
Needs change, but from what I learned and seen and believe right now, they are changed naturally only after they are being met. So if you have a need,
wait, let's say it again. I think it's super important.
Needs have to be met in order to change.
Wow, that's deep.
There is no guarantee that you meet this need once and it will change. Maybe this person needs a lot of reassurance and he needs 3 years of the same experience until he's ready to give rise to a new need or a new desire. Especially with humans, I believe that this is the area when we grow the most spiritually and when we feel the most satisfaction, and relation is everything with yourself, with your things, with your food, and with other people. Yeah, I think it's the biggest part of the human experience because it's such a fundamental need. I actually believe that a need for connection is the most basic and the biggest need. More than food, more than water. Because as a baby, if someone is not connected to you and not loving you and not caring about you, you will not get food, you will not get water, you will die. So you're really dependent on connection. But yeah, when you grow up, like, we need to develop this connection with ourselves to feel stable, to feel abundant, and not be dependent in a not balanced way on others, as to be clingy and like
in an unhealthy way. But I think like unhealthy also. It's like if I am aware of my abandonment wound, you know, it's like in a way I have to accept that,
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
some dependence on this.
Yeah. So the main thing here is to understand your needs and to not judge them. Like, there is no point, now it's balanced and now it's unhealthy. Now you cling too much, you shouldn't be that clingy. No, if you have a need for someone to be with you, this is the need you have. And it's better to be aware of it and go get it directly than to try to balance yourself out. But this is the need you have, this is the reality. You gotta accept it. And sometimes it's scary because it's very committing. Oh, now I know what I need. Now I need to do something about it. Maybe it's scary.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to be abandoned again. I'm afraid that people will judge me, think I am too sensitive or too clingy. But yeah, have to accept our humanity.
But I think it can be super nice to, like, I'm so happy this topic came up right now, because I believe that it really is an issue in nowadays world, that like so many people are more like trying to be very individualistic and independent, that it is kind of, like we're ashamed to say like, yeah, like I need you, I want your closeness, it's really important to me. I'm happy that here in San Marcos there's a lot of people that prove the opposite. And here there's like people that really are saying it out loud, like, yeah, I love connection, I want to be connected, I want to be close to you, like, and it feels nice. It feels nice to be so honest about it, that you don't have to, if this is your truth. And like other points, like clearly you can communicate if you need space to, but I think nowadays we struggle so much more with like wanting to closeness or being open and vulnerable about needing the other person.
Yeah, I think society set us up in different ways. Society also judges our needs. Like, if you want closeness, society will tell you you're too weak, you're too emotional, you are not healed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so society is like putting pressure on people to not to be disconnected from their needs. And also I think the structure, like the actual structure of how we live, mainly in cities, it's like that's the main reason I came here, to like a small village when I can see the same people every day when I go out my door. Because in a city, I am secluded. I'm on my own box. And it felt very not natural for me, because we're tribal. We're tribal. And of course, like, it's modern times and I don't want to see the same 50 people every day, and that's my entire world. We're abundant, tons of people, and you can go here and there. But still, when I was in my box, I felt so alone. I felt it's so hard to meet people. I have to put so much energy in finding an event that has the people that I'm interested in driving 30 minutes. And when I go back home, I'm like, hey, I'm still alone. And when everybody's used to be alone and it's not natural to see the same faces, you walk down the street of a very populated city. I remember Tel Aviv. I just walked the main street in Tel Aviv, and you see tons of people, and no one is connected. We're used to be on our own. So when we're connected only in school or in some kind of structure, when where we are a part of a group, so we see the same people daily, we feel this tribe, we feel this connection. But then we go in the city, we go on the streets, we see so much more people, but everybody's used to be on their own. And you can feel so lonely when you're so not alone.
Yeah.
And I think society sets us up for this.
But do you think it's possible to change it in a big cities? Or it's only possible in these little towns like San Marcos, for example, where you see the same people? Like, do you think there's a cure for it for big cities?
I'm not sure. That's a really good question. What I do know, that there is a need and there will be much more communities. And I believe that the structure of society will tend to be more communal. I'm sure that if people will think creatively and really put their attention on it, we could find some more balance between city life and more communal life. I'm sure there are options. I didn't really think about it that deeply, but for sure, I think the first steps is that more people starting to live in more communities.
But how are you finding it here now? Because, like, you told me that it's like first time abroad for you, was it?
Kind of, yeah.
Or
First
like
time
so-
traveling. I was abroad, but I was working or I was very young. Now it's first time I go out. I'm in the world.
Yeah.
What's up?
And how is it? How long have you been here?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Did you plan to come for so long?
Oh, yeah. I don't
yeah?
want to go back to my country at least in 2 or 3 years.
Oh, okay. How long you been away? Was this your first step?
That's my first step. I came straight here.
Oh, so it's just the beginning.
Yeah, and tomorrow I fly to Mexico.
Yeah, wow. I hope I see you in this 2-year period, and at the end, I would like to hear your experiences with that. But how are you finding it so far?
It's interesting. I don't feel super happy or super healed, and I still don't feel like stable. Some days I'm like, I feel very emotionally challenged. Some days I feel great. But what I can say for certainty is that my life are way more interesting and worth living now, because I have so many experiences, and I have these experiences much more available for me, much easily. And yeah, I just meet many people, connect with certain people, even though I still feel a big need for way more connection and way more stable and constant connection with friends, with lovers, with everything, just human connection. Still, just being here, experiencing so many stuff feels more alive. So I feel way better than Israel, than my lowest point. But I still feel I'm on this journey of self-healing, self-discovery. I feel it just started. I still don't feel the best. Sometimes I feel really nice, sometimes really not.
Yeah.
But I feel I'm on the way.
So you're glad you took the step?
Yeah, I am. However, I'm still not content enough or satisfied enough with my needs to really feel glad or happiness. I can say intellectually, yeah, of course I'm glad I came here because I'm doing better. But now I'm more in this space of I'm just open. I'm just open. Let's see what comes. Let's see what do I want to do. Let's see how do I feel. Let's see what do I need.
I think it's super important because if I heard you correctly, like there's a big shift from like 3 months ago when you were in Israel, because then you were more thinking about, there was pain and like even you were thinking about dying. And now, if you think about it, it's a very big shift, no?
Yeah.
Like feeling open, like,
yeah. Yeah.
To me, it sounds like a big win.
Yeah. Thanks for putting that so clearly. Definitely, the past 3 months in here, I feel like I was able to grow. In Israel, I felt I was not growing. And here I feel, okay, maybe it's hard sometimes, but I grow so much here. I had like amazing, profound experiences, realizations. And yeah, it's much better here.
Are you planning to come back here?
I'm pretty sure I will be back here. But right now, I can only see a week ahead, even less.
Yeah. Nice way of living, huh?
Yeah, I guess that's what I needed.
That's unique right now.
Yeah.
Is there something else you feel that's important for our listeners to know, or would you like to share something that's on your heart?
I'm curious about the questions you prepared. Maybe there is something interesting there.
Oh, there's a lot of questions I prepared. Okay, let's see. Oh, what's your view on can men and women be friends? Between different genders?
Well, of course. For me, it's of course. Like, why the fuck not? Men can be so much fun. Women can be so much more fun.
Yeah. But do you see this idea that a lot of people hold that friendship is not possible between men and women? Have you experienced it in your life?
I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised about this question because this idea that many couples I remember in Israel, they're like not allowing each other to have friends from the other gender. For me, it's like such an old idea that I forgot about it. So I was surprised about your question. Like, I don't know, we're human. I find you fun. I connect with you. Yeah, we're friends. Like, I don't care what you have in your underwear. Like, let's enjoy each other's company. As long as it's within our boundaries. If it works, it works. For me, it's pretty like, yeah, but I guess other people think otherwise.
Yeah. There's a lot of opinions, but I guess it depends also where the person is at. Or like, my point of view is that you just have to be clear about your feelings. Like, clearly the friendship is possible, but when I start feeling something else, or like more intimate, or I start having some romantic thoughts, then I should just be honest about that. Which can come if you connect with someone on a deeper level, you know.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's different between men and women, because it makes, maybe I'm wrong, but for me it makes sense. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Me personally, when I see a woman, I know I can be open. I almost know immediately and exactly what I want from her and what I'm open for with her. Like if we're talking relationship, for me, two main components for a relationship, to call someone like my girlfriend. I want to have like good connection with her, and with this I mean like that we get along, that we enjoy each other's company, that we are intrigued by each other, all the communication needs, attraction, and love, like emotion, like romantic feelings. For me, these are the three components for a relationship. So when I meet a woman, if there's no attraction, we can be friends. But if there is attraction, so I'm open. Maybe relationship, like possibly, if there is also love. If there's only attraction and communication and no love, so we can be either lovers or friends.
That's interesting. That's very clear. Yeah. And you say you normally know, like from the beginning?
Yeah. For me personally, talking about my own experience, when I see a woman, mostly I know pretty quick. Can I see her potentially as a girlfriend or a wife? Can I see her potentially as having some romance with her, but probably not girlfriend material? Or no way it's gonna be romantic or sexual, but maybe friends. So when there is attraction, but I know I will not be her boyfriend, I'm open for both friendship or romance.
Oh, that's very nice. I like the structure around it. It makes it super clear. And there's like different ways. It's true. Like there's you can be lovers, you can be like in a committed relationship or friendship, or like different variations here.
Yeah.
I ask another question. What are some major turn-ons for you in a like romantic relationship or women?
As a like committed romantic relationship, loving relationship.
Oh, I understand they're different for you.
Maybe.
Ideally, we would have all of them in one, no?
Ideally. Like there are turn-ons in general.
Yeah.
But you ask what's really important for me in a girlfriend, so to speak. Like, let's say, it's very important for me to feel at ease with her. It's very important for me to feel Wow, it's such a good question. There are so many things that are so important for me. It's hard to choose, but I will answer. It's important for me that I really like how my girlfriend looks. It's also physical, but it's also energy. Like I like when my girlfriend is like radiating or glowing. That there is something about her that people cannot ignore her. Like beauty, inner beauty and outer beauty. Also, outer beauty, at least to my taste, is very important for me. It's real. I really like when I look at a woman and I feel like, wow, I really like how she looks. It's important for me the communication. It's important for me the trust. I really need to be able to trust her. If I don't trust her, if I don't feel safe, emotionally safe, I cannot do it and don't want to do it. Like I have a huge need for certainty and stability and communication, and I don't like to be surprised in a non-pleasant way. So I need someone to really be compatible with that. And also emotional availability. Like my ex-girlfriend, she's an amazing human being and many people love her. But we had like a conflicting needs because she needed some more autonomy or more freedom, and I needed more intimacy, more connection. Yeah. What else? You want me to think what else, or
no? That's good. That's good. If there's nothing like really coming up, then I think it's enough.
I like that.
What would you say? Okay, this is a bit general question. I don't know if you can answer, but it was a question that has been asked a lot by women. It's a topic that we would like to know or discuss. I think it's important, but I don't know if something comes up for you. The question is like, what are men insecure about?
Okay, yeah, pretty general question. I would start and say that in the context of relationship, what is maybe most important for men is to feel like they have a role, is to feel needed, is to feel relevant. We want to feel that there is a purpose for us to be in your life. If you do everything by yourself, you don't need me to either, I don't know, provide anything. We want to provide. This is natural for men. We want to give. So if there is a woman that is like, I don't need you, don't open the door for me, or don't show love for me, or like, and I feel like, why do you need me? Just for not being bored, just for not being alone, just for sex, just for like, if we don't feel needed and we feel like we have a role in this, it's very important for our self-esteem, really important for our confidence, to feel like we're here for a role. There is something specific that I as a man can provide and is valued. So that's the first thing come up to my head. What are men insecure about? We can be insecure about, I think, most things that also women can be insecure about. We can be insecure about our looks, our financials, we can be insecure, just insecure in ourselves, not really being connected to our worth and what we have to give. And basically, I think it's just unhealed traumas. Yeah, we can be insecure about any human thing.
I think it's just so healing. To me, this question is important because I believe that it's very rare that men talk about it. You know, it's so much easier for women to have those conversations. And I think it's super healing to have like men like you in my podcast and spreading the word also, like showing this vulnerability and talking about those things. Like I believe that today there were like a lot of situations already in our talk. I was like, oh my god, you're so much in your divine masculine. Like you really like wanting to hold the space, saying that you want to have a role. Like it's all like, you know, you have to be very awakened in your masculine to be that, to embody that. And I think I'm so glad to be the vessel or to show that actually like there are men like you and awakened men, and like the men who can hold the space and want closeness and talk about the things really openly. That is not, you know, something, because a lot of wounded feminine also, they think that, you know, there's no men out there. There's, you know, only assholes.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And I do have something interesting to share. This is an insecurity of mine. Like some men are insecure to show emotion and feelings and show vulnerability. But also a man as masculine energy, I believe our role as an energy, it's not even about gender, but mostly if it's a man, that's the energy he chose to experience in this world. So we're here to provide safety. And sometimes when a man is being too emotional, the space cannot be safe, because sometimes it's the role of that man to hold the space. And if he's breaking, everybody will feel lost. So it's like, am I being too emotional? Like I see many of my fellow friends and men, sometimes on social media or in general, especially in the spiritual and hippie movement, I see them, and that's a judgment I have or a story I tell myself, but I see it as too emotional, too vulnerable. Maybe women can appreciate that. Maybe you're giving as an example for other men that are afraid to show their emotions, or even just to trigger them to be mad and just to push them from their like stubbornness. But I see it as like, hey, be a man. Don't cry all day unless like you're really in deep grief. Don't dwell in your emotions so much all day. Like this is all you have to give. Hey, I'm just vulnerable. I'm just open. I'm just emotional. No, I want to feel safe with you as a man. I want to feel your masculine energy. If you're too much in the flowing and the feminine and the emotional, you miss the idea of having the balance or of being a man. So
I totally understand what you're saying, and this is so funny because that's the information I got here in San Marcos. Like I feel that I got information from a lot of men here that they're saying in their countries, for example, United States, that these movements are like crazy, like pushing men into their feminine too much. That's not what I have experienced in my country, you know. But I hear that there's a lot of this happening, I believe, like globally right now, because this information came to me a lot. That there's like even like too much this femininity movement, and like, you know, like we can do everything ourselves, we don't need men anymore, and men are like super insecure and they don't know where they're standing, and they're like really trying to be super feminine to, you know, be accepted in this world, which is also super bad.
It's dangerous.
So dangerous.
It's dangerous. Yeah.
I totally agree, because I believe in this also, that men lose their power. Like you lose your power if you don't like step in your masculine. Like you have to have the both. And yeah, as you said, you chose a masculine energy for this life, right?
Yeah.
And there's like this, there has to be balance, but like there's still a difference, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's true that men have to like the divine masculine, I think, is able to hold the space.
The divine masculine is necessary to have a safe space. This is the energy that holds the space, I believe. And society is now just conditioned to emasculate men and take them off their power. And to also, but this may sound very controversial, but I highly believe that society is trying to confuse our gender and our identity and to blend everything together. So we don't have a clear view of feminine energy and masculine energy. and everything has to be so politically correct and not to offend anyone if he feels like he's a male or a female or his body, or of course everybody, we have the right to do whatever feels right to us, and now there is space for everyone in every shape, color, whatever, but still they're trying to confuse us. This is what I feel.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to put the identity and gender like separate. You know, because I am for it that we should accept everything. I'm like, we should have total freedom in a sense. You know, it doesn't matter who you're dating, if you're like bi or I don't know, or even what type of relationship you wish to have, like polyamorous or monogamous, like whatever it is you want to experience in this life, it's fine. But like, I think masculine and feminine energies are like maybe different path, or like different. I don't know if path. I wouldn't say path because we all have those inside us, and we should consider them as masculine and feminine.
Yeah, but definitely it's two different essences.
Yeah. I don't know I can't say the right word, but yeah, essence. Maybe.
It's completely different role in the creation. Just different purpose, different energy, different movement, and they're both super important and should work together. Otherwise, it's like things will not be ideal, to say the least.
Yeah, I totally agree. But what would you say? What's the divine feminine role?
Ooh, responsibility. Well, I consider femininity, feminine energy as creative energy, as nurturing, nourishing energy, as receptive energy. Divine feminine is receptive energy. I think ideally, both energies or both roles should be confident in themselves, but when a masculine energy or a feminine energy is confident, it shows up in two different expressions. So for feminine energy or female, or feminine female, it would be way more receptive. Like if a woman is confident, she wouldn't mind if a man opens the door for her. Maybe she doesn't like it too much, but she wouldn't be offended or feel like I can do it myself, you know. She's confident. She's either happy or who cares? Like she's good. She knows her worth. She's receptive to the world. She's very flowing and she's open. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Like this song, girls just want to have fun. It's so true. It's so true. Let's see a party. You look at a party. The moment there is music, all the women usually the women are like, woo, party, fun, super in touch in their body and just want to express and have fun and be playful. And men, they're more like, can we move? And you help us get in touch with our body, have fun, enjoy, flow. Masculine is more structure, is a forward moving energy. It's a container. It's boundaries. If there are no boundaries, the place is not safe. We need boundaries to have a safe place, and men provide that masculine energy, and this also might trigger some of the viewers. And I hope that most people will get my point. But masculine energy is the energy that is owning. Oh, I own things. I own people. Not in a way of like, you are my property, I control you. No. I mean, when I own something, like I own myself, I own who I am. I am very clear. I am here. I am present. I'm owning myself. So I'm not like half here, half there. I'm here. I'm doing something. I'm doing it. I'm not half doing it.
Yeah.
That's like
You're clear. Yeah.
That's either childish or maybe feminine in some cases. But men is like forward and movement energy. So if I own something, that means that I take this something as part of me. Let's say I own my house. I will not throw trash in my house. I want to take care of the best interest of my house, of the people that I own them energetically. That means I take the people I care about as part of me. I'm gonna keep them safe. I'm gonna do whatever I can to provide to fulfill their needs. I own their experience. They are part of me. I cannot hurt them if they are part of me, if I own them. Also, within ourselves, internally, if I don't own a part of myself, I disown it, so I abandon it, I attack it, I suppress it, I make it feel like, hey, you're not a part of this essence. You are not worthy. So when I'm owning stuff and even people energetically in the way I explained, it means that I'm like,
but it's very beautiful. It's like you're also taking responsibility for what the experience is, right?
Responsibility. Taking responsibility. That's the masculine.
Yeah. I totally agree with it. I took a course. I recommend this guy also to everybody. It's Lorin Gren on Facebook, Instagram. Maybe he's on Facebook too. But I think the difference and why maybe even society is pushing men so much on the feminine is because the wounded masculine or the toxic masculine is about controlling. That's exactly what you said. Like taking power by force. Like that's not what the divine masculine is about.
Exactly.
And like
that's unconscious masculine.
Yeah. But the divine masculine actually doesn't have to take the control. He has the control. Like it's not by force. It's like people kind of wanna be in his energy and wanna be there because he has the biggest like collective good in the heart. Like he comes from a heart. It's not from a power, like from a controlling position.
He's connected to his heart. He's not afraid of his emotions. He's very much connected to them, but he's not drowning in his emotions. He's able to contain himself and the surroundings. And without this healed masculinity in society, there is no safety. People can just take advantage of us and control us like it's right now and like it's always been almost. And we really need that. And I find it pretty sad that it is so rare to find this kind of masculine energy. And also I can share myself that I am still on my way there. I don't feel like satisfied enough in my ability to hold this energy. So this is an insecurity of mine. But it's just the path and the way and like also the lesson to not expect myself to be perfect. Like it's okay to be where I am. But sometimes we can forget that it's okay to be where I am. But definitely the healed divine masculine is so needed.
So needed
right now in the world.
I believe so too. We really need those men stepping up, but from a hard place.
We need polarity.
Definitely. I wanted to ask just a few more questions before we go. Is there something in your life right now that is like super important to you, but like if you think back like when you were like younger or like 5-10 years, that like was not important at all, that you're surprised by it, like how much you have changed or how something has come into your life and you're like, wow, like.
In my case, I think what I want since I'm 4, since I remember myself, and what I want now is still the same things. And I think I was always in touch with that. And that is connection, love, feeling desired, feeling chosen, feeling wanted. But I do recognize the importance of being able to choose and not just hoping to be chosen. Like that's a lack mentality. But just a huge need for intimacy, stable connection, because I come from mostly an abandonment dynamic.
Okay, just 2 last questions to close up.
I do have something that might answer that question.
Tell me.
So in regards to sexuality, when I was younger, let's say 5 years ago, I could say that I want a lot of sexuality. And what now I'm finding out is that it's really not about the sexuality for me. It's way more about the emotional connection. To the point that, like, if there is no emotional connection, I might not even be, like, aroused. This maybe surprises me, like, how big role for me, and I believe also for many other men, is the quality of emotional connection that has to do with sexuality. It's way more than just physical. It used to be more physical for me. I wasn't aware that it's just my way to feel valued and worth. But now it's really not about that. And it's really hard for me to approach sexuality, even if it's wanted or asked. And like within the boundaries of everybody, it's harder for me to approach it just from a physical place, just because I can, just because I'd be satisfied if I don't feel any connection.
Yeah, that's big. I believe it's true for a lot of people, especially who start to do the self-development work, It's a shift that maybe, takes a bit time to get used to. Or like to maybe recognize in yourself even.
Yeah, and also, and it's very sad for me to watch, society gives women the message, you want to be empowered women, you want to be free, you want to be independent, be disconnected from your emotion and just go be sexual, be free, just like it's nothing, but it's actually very deep. And I think society is conditioning women to get away from their heart and their emotions and just like engage in sexuality in a way less connected way, with the pretense that it makes her more empowered or more free, but it actually drives her away from her feminine essence and makes her more masculine, like let's conquer.
Yeah, totally.
And, yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, totally agree. Super fucked up. I'm glad you brought it out. Okay, is there something else? Oh, okay, last question, just to close it up. We have so many, let's see. But is there one best advice that you have ever received or discovered on your own that you live by?
Basically, you're asking me now for what would be your last words.
Yeah.
Just like this, in general, was the best advice. Can you make it a tiny bit more specific? Best advice for who, where, when?
I don't even want to make it specific. I think it's so much more connected to who you are, like what speaks to you. What do you feel has helped you the most, or what is there one thing you would like our listeners to know, like that has helped you, or something to follow, or what would you say is really true?
I want to say compassion. I want to say understanding and applying the concept of compassion, because true compassion is not to be always nice or always loving. Compassion in some cases would mean to set a strong boundary, to say no, to take your time, to not judge yourself. May sound like very general or like a cliche, but yeah, just to explore and apply the true meaning of compassion, because to truly be compassionate, you have to be connected. You have to be connected to yourself. You have to be connected to your others. You have to be like to understand the situation and to provide what needs to be provided either to yourself or to others. It might look like saying something loving to yourself, and it might look like getting help and asking for help. Like to truly recognize how you feel, what you need, and to actually provide, like do what needs to be done. I wouldn't guess that would be my answer. But
it's beautiful, and I think it's like compassion in a sense, like self-compassion, and if we can be compassionate towards ourselves, we can also give it to others, both important.
Yeah, but first to yourself. Like never put others before you, because you are connected to others.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. So many new insights for me too. Really enjoyed my talk with you. Very grateful you came. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. It was a pleasure. I hope this touches people and inspire people. Yeah.
I hope.
And maybe we will have a second episode.
I hope so. In Estonia. Maybe your road takes you to Estonia in summer.
We'll
Never
see.
know.
We'll see.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see.